The campaign season is entering its final intense phase as aspirants, party leaders, and delegates prepare for what could be one of the most consequential internal elections of the party. In fact, the party has completed almost all logistical preparations ahead of the primaries. The NPP's Presidential Elections Committee, working closely with the Electoral Commission and the Ghana Police Service, they say that arrangements are in place for all the delegates to cast their votes at the over 300 polling centers nationwide. With security deployment and operational readiness, they have all been finalized for a free, fair, transparent, and peaceful exercise. You know, the concerns about proxy voting has been abolished to protect the integrity of the process. There seems to be strong confidence among officials that the polls will run smoothly. And there are those who are also cautiously optimistic. They do not entirely trust the entire process, so they are sleeping with one eye open, the other one closed. Campaigning remains robust as the aspirants push their messages directly to delegates across the country. In this closing stretch, Kennedy Ohene Japan Dr. Brian Champon, Dr. Yao Osei Aduchum, and then Kennedy Japan, Kwabna Japan, Kwabna Japan. In recognition of the competitive atmosphere, the party leadership has also pushed for unity. A peace pact signing involving all presidential hopefuls is scheduled to underscore their commitment of the candidates to respect the outcome and rally together afterward. That's a key step to ensure harmony within the party, regardless of who wins their nomination. As the countdown ticks towards the January 31 D-Day, momentum is building among delegates, aspirants and party structures alike, with security and procedural safeguards in place, and the aspirants intensifying their final appeals. All eyes are on what many see as a defining moment for the NPP's future. General elections. Six-pillar policy. Flag-bearer aspirant of the NPP, Kwabna Japan, unveiled what he described as a six-pillar policy plan aimed at addressing the challenges facing the country when selected as the party's flag-bearer. He was speaking at a press conference in Accra to unveil his six-pillar policy plan towards transforming the country. The former General Secretary of the NPP said the country must pause to reflect whether democracy has delivered the expected benefit for citizens. So he proposed a comprehensive plan, including transparent compensation, Mr. Japan proposed comprehensive land reforms, including transparent compensation frameworks and streamlined land title registration to unlock capital, reduce litigation, and boost agricultural productivity. In his Pillar 1 policy plan, this, he said, would be combined with a youth-led environmental stewardship program to reclaim degraded lands and water bodies, which will transition the country from subsistence farming to climate-smart, large-scale commercial agriculture. Touching on Pillar 2 of his policy, which focuses on strict enforcement of spatial planning, building and environmental regulations, Mr. Japan pledged zero tolerance for indiscipline and corruption. He said his administration would introduce rigorous value for money audits in public procurement and rationalize government expenditure. There's also the bit about restoring meritocracy and professionalism in the public service. He also proposed downsizing government cabinet ministers supported by deputies and regional ministers, and announced plans to consult stakeholders on capping the number of Supreme Court judges at 11 while abolishing the retirement age to strengthen judicial interdependence. So Kennedy Ejapon is in the news. Kwabena Ejapon is also in the news. Also, the Custodian newspaper reported the story that be part of Bawumia's imminent victory and not done prayer to NPP delegates. And that story is on page 3 of the paper. The minority chief whip, a member of parliament for Nsewo Maduajiri, Mr. Frank Anadonpre, urging NPP delegates to be part of Dr. Bawumia's victory by voting massively for the former vice president on the 31st of January 2026, the primaries of the party. According to him, Dr. Bawumia is firmly on course to win the party's internal presidential race. He made the call on Monday, January 19, while addressing party supporters and delegates in the Bosomtwi constituency in the Ashanti region, ahead of the contest that will elect a flag bearer for the 2020 general election.
Oko 1992 and we winning and oko general election and we lose. 1996 the former black flag bearer Ejine Kumasi Kasena Edubuahin Yare Kufuor contested Edubuahin in 1996 and Kufuor BT Edubuahin and the flag bearer. He was fighting to go on the post, and they did not agree. And we contested. I will pay power. We be able to mine him now to be detro a distorted history. Say, Mr. Mamon to Abama, Gomuniam, Obia Manini name so we're a liar. More than a bar, we're a liar, and the people are not going to vote for him. He's not a trustworthy person. When I heard him yesterday saying that, I said, what? A presidential candidate who wants people to vote for him will look eyeball to eyeball and lie. He's a big liar. Me na makachira bonde. We're a liar. So Timiko General said na Edubuahin Yare. Wow. Timesram Edubuahin was contested by Kufuor. And Kufuor BT, you know. And they munko checking history. In the mama to 2 million second chance. Many are told me, I am more popular than him in this country. I'm telling you today, me am more popular than him. Who knows him? The only people, those who know him as a liar. And he continues to lie. That is why we lost. When to me economy who wants them be a digital, am I lose you? And you people that I'm talking to know why you didn't vote for him, because of the tribal conflict. The tribal conflict. And we lost the 5 northern regions. And his lie, he said, oh no, when you're the highest vote. Ekufuado had 20 seats, parliamentary seats, and now we're 10. How can you say, when you're the highest vote? Mesrem. A trona papa ni di for power no di. Mudi agro ko ye mistakes se munya. Ye be say atena opposition. Ko Ghana ni di antroso no. Omo say tron ko na wodi. A tron wodu Ashanti region. Why so desperate he say a tron ko na every day wodi. And why we want to win power. And if you want to win power, ask the Muslims themselves. They will tell you. Say oko adum cheho edi ayikogu na nti yantoma no oko mungwa yomu shrine edi ayigu nsi yantoma no. The Muslims say it all the time. The Christians are saying yantoma no. So what are we saying? Do we want to lose power? When these same Muslims say bring Canada, Japan, Christians are saying bring Canada, Japan. And you are not catching and say what is Zongo, Muslim, nothing votes paper. What happened in the north? And you are aware, you are the very people more witness say his brutality. I have to tell you the truth. What is here? In this hour and Trona or Namdi and no Kurabemo will lose election. The Bunya Bo, I'm to Abama Canada, Japan. Near Manukure and Nedi, our Ghanaian politics. Listen, people in Boko Enclave, you know very well, the tribal conflict played a role for us to lose. Religious problems caused us because of him. He has to accept it. The boy says, he come at I'm about to say, young two mano, or no go to doom tree, and young two mano. They tell me all the time. They come to me. They tell me. Tribal conflict, any religious problems. It's a fact. And you are there. You experience it yourself. It is a trona will di because he wants power. And you are. Timesra, Munya Gidi, Sagana, Evitimia, Medamasi, Yamisha Munya.
3FM Sunrise.
Parents of the NPP.
Are you ready to wave your flags? Are you ready? Go! Wave!
That all may not be well. Of course, as expected of elections, high tensions, high stakes. Well, the Dr. Bawumia campaign has also responded. And they say that Kennedy Japan's personal insult on His Excellency Dr. Bawumia are baseless and uninformed, as well as unwarranted. The Bawumia campaign has noted with a great concern a recent video message by Kennedy Japan, a fellow contender in the upcoming NPP presidential primaries. In the video, Kennedy Japan is seen falsely accusing His Excellency Dr. Bawumia of making remarks regarding the health status of Mr. Albert Eduboahen and a so-called decision not to participate in the 1996 NPP primaries. Furthermore, Kennedy Japan unfairly branded Dr. Bawumia as a liar who is unfit for leadership. For absolute clarity, Dr. Bawumia has never made the statements that have been attributed to him. We ask Honorable Kennedy Japan to produce the video or audio evidence without further delay if he stands by this baseless attack. In our political discourse, accuracy matters, words also matter. Wrongful attributions have the potential to unnecessarily mislead the public and inflame tensions within our party. We urge Honorable Japan to urgently apologize to Dr. Bawumia for the false statement he has made about him. Dr. Bawumia believes that as leaders, we must always state our views devoid of tantrums and personal insults while maintaining truthfulness, decorum, and restraint at all times. This is coming from the camp of Dr. Bawumia, and it is signed by Nana Kumia, the chairman of campaign communications of the Bawumia for President 2028 team. And it is in reaction or relation to the voice I played for you earlier, the voice of Kennedy Japan, calling Dr. Bawumia a liar and making some accusations against him. So that's the latest from the various camps. In fact, we're having a conversation on the back of this. When we finish, we'll take a listen to some other candidates and what they have been saying. Dr. Jonathan Asantiotre is joining us at the moment. Doc, I'm grateful for your time. Dr. Asantiotre is a political analyst and the executive director of the African Institute of Strategic Studies. Good morning to you, Doc.
Good morning, Cosby.
I trust you're well, sir.
Well, I can't complain. How are you also doing?
I'm very fine, thank you. But it appears all is not well with the two camps, the two leading candidates in the NPP primaries. Dr. Bawumia is responding, his team is responding to a video by the camp of Kennedy Japan that says, or that has Kennedy Japan call Dr. Bawumia, a liar, and that he poorly performed in the 2024 elections from religious reasons to tribal reasons, amongst others. From where you sit as a political analyst, what do you make of what is happening between the two of them?
Crosby, thank you very much. Let me say good morning once again to your good self and to your listeners. I want listeners to remember what I said from the period when the thank you tour became a debacle. You remember I said on various media platforms that it was going to get murkier before probably it gets better. And so you could see that the party, foreseeing something of that sort, has decided that there is a need for what? A peace pact to be signed. It is an attempt to forestall. So you could see that I am sensing some kind of frustration from the part or the camp of Mr. Kennedy Japan, in the sense that he just wants to be frank and brutal about who Dr. Bawumia is, without mincing words. But you see, his style, without mincing words, sometimes he goes overboard. Sometimes the words he may use may be unnecessarily brutal. You can still communicate the way you want to communicate without, sounding offensive, without being brutal, with the kind of diction that you choose. And so, but of course, typical of Mr. Kennedy Japan, that is a style of communication and very characteristic of him. Very vintage. He doesn't mince words when it comes to, being frank about what he feels about someone or what is exactly the case about someone. That is exactly what he has done. Now, consistent with Bawumia's style, you could see that the rebuttal is more refined. And of course, one way or the other, you look at it in such a way that it comes off as more or less ridiculing or poo-pooing what Mr. Kennedy, put out there. Of course, suggesting some kind of untruth. But they have also dared Mr. Kennedy Japan to come up with the videos of whatever he's claiming. And I think that in itself is equally dangerous on the part of Dr. Bawumia's camp. In as much as the way and manner they communicated, for me, is evenly fair, that in itself could also lead to another batch of tantrum that could be held against him. Because if he begins to put that video into the social media terrain, then that will also begin another discourse. Crosby, the other thing too that might have influenced this particular tantrum or tirade from Mr. Kennedy Japan in very strong worded communication to the Bawumia camp is what is circulating in the social media, right? The various platforms of social media about the kinds of things he's reported to have said. Some kind of videos that he used to defend the party when the party was under attack from Anas Aremio, Anas's video and report and, secret recording and all those things. And now you are using those things against him. Of course, as a way of letting the delegates not to vote for him, because then it means that is either an upstart or unstable person. So that in itself, in conclusion, does not deserve to be the flag bearer of the NPP. So that is the fit response they have gotten from the man. In this case, he himself is leading this particular communication. And so it's when you situate the desire of the party to bring in the sign of this peace pact, of course, it is to forestall, and instill some kind of discipline and probably tie the hands of, some of these presidential candidates or aspirants, as it were, before, during, and then after the election. So the unthinkable, does not happen. Because if they are not careful, there could be another splinter group coming out of the NPP. Already the NPP is experiencing dwindling fortunes, right? You can look at, first of all, the 2024 elections. They were defeated summarily in a gargantuan fashion. After that, there was a rerun at Ablikuma North. 19, police stations, you lost. Then there is a by-election that happened at Akutia, you lost. There is an impending one, issue at, Pandai, and you can't also tell whether it's going to come back to you or it's going to go to the NDP. So they are just hemorrhaging, and for which reason the party ought to do something. And I think that as a way of ensuring that there is that kind of semblance of peace after the elections, that is the more reason why they are bringing in this peace pact. But it ought to be stated on record that this is the very first time I'm seeing an internal primaries degenerate to that level, to the extent that the party is organizing a peace pact.
From the various camps, some supporters of the camps do not necessarily have a lot of trust in the committee running the presidential elections of the party. Will the peace pact remain merely a document that will be signed, or will translate into increasing the levels of trust and confidence in the entire election process, coming on the back of accusations and counter-accusations that these camps are throwing amongst themselves?
So that is the more reason why I argued that the General Secretary, Justin Kodia, made the mark when he decided to go on the tangent of preparing to expel Professor Boateng from the party. I felt that the posturing of the professor, the good old, the venerable professor, should have demanded strategic communication from the General Secretary. Why am I saying so? The man accused the process, previously, that brought Dr. Bawumia as a flag bearer of being symbolic, accused the party of being fake, the original one being virtual. So if the process previously was symbolic and flawed, intimidation and other things, I expected the General Secretary to take the opportunity to outline the things, the processes that have been put in place, right, to ensure freely, fairly, and transparently conducted primaries come 31st. That would have nipped in the bud what the professor said. And of course, that could have changed the narrative as far as the media discussions are concerned. So that people will now look at the processes that they have put in place and say that this process is probably fair, or it is fair, and that whoever gets elected would have come out of a fairly, freely, and transparently conducted elections, and that whoever loses should not turn into a bad loser. He lost that particular opportunity to do so.
So, Doc,
he just rather targeted the person. And of course, you see how people have rebutted that, telling him that that is not the way to go. You are rather creating more problems for the party, Because there are people who have that kind of mentality about the way and manner the party has been conducting itself. And of course, that man, Professor, has a vote. So, as a former minister, he has a vote. So, if you put in processes to expel him, and if the expulsion happens before the 31st, then whoever he spoke for would have lost that particular vote. And that in itself could create more, tension within the party. And so, I expect that this particular was a peace pact that ought to be signed tomorrow. I hope what contains in it will not let any of them withdraw, because there are two things involved in a peace pact. It either ties you down, or it fulfills your aspirations, for which reason you append your signature onto it. But it is just for the optics. It is just for the optics. I have asked the Ghana police to be up and doing, because the stakes for these impending elections are quite high. Because I am quite certain that the two leading camps, they will have vigilantes everywhere.
At this stage of the race, is there anybody who benefits politically from the heightened tension, and who is most at risk?
Well, because I think yesterday, a colleague professor, who is an NPP person, told me that Kennedy Japan is going to win. This is someone who was in the camp of Dr. Baumia in the previous elections, and they lost. So, interestingly, he has switched to Mr. Kennedy's camp. For whatever reasons, he only knows. He insisted that Kennedy is going to win the elections, and that the Kennedy camp, some of these delegates have remained quiet. They don't want the other side to know that they intend to vote this way or that way. But the voting should take place on the D-Day. It has become heightened because there seem to be some kind of surveys that have been done, polling that have been done by, some unrecognized, polling or survey institutions. I didn't know them until this period. It is Santa Africa, and then I just seen something. I hope I am correct, or I stand to be corrected. As to how they were able to get to those percentages, I don't know. But of course, if there is that tension, then I think that it could easily inure to the benefit of Mr. Kennedy. But the style of Dr. Baumia, that the refined type. Of course, it doesn't mean that he doesn't give punchlines. Don't forget that he's had cause to insult the NDC. People think that he doesn't. He knows how to insult, because some time ago, when the NDC came up with a certain, analysis on a certain issue, he said that they don't read, they should go and read. I mean, you don't have to tell somebody that the person is stupid before you say that this is an insult. I mean, that was brutal and frank insult, right, on the integrity of those members who did that. I've forgotten that particular issue. So he has a subtle way of giving his own punchlines, right? He may not be that frank and brutal about, certain dictions that are unprintable. But I think that once there isn't much tension within the scope of what they intend to do, then obviously the Baumia will benefit from that. But I'm really impressed by the Kennedy camp, because it appears that they have really worked so hard. And in terms of campaign messaging, Mr. Kennedy's camp have always had a stronger campaign messaging than Dr. Baumia, and it happened in the 2024 primaries, and it is happening now. It is just because, of course, he's not been a vice president before, he's not been president before. So as a businessman, he thinks that this is the way to go. And he speaks to the core and pressing the emotional buttons, of the delegates. And so it has become a bit difficult for Dr. Baumia. That apart, where Dr. Baumia comes from, he doesn't have, a lot more population on his side. So he's virtually relying on some of the areas where, under normal circumstances, Mr. Kennedy could have swept those votes in those areas. So that is where he's focus has recently been. And of course, the final one, this tension thing. You know, if you remember, I said that people still look at Dr. Bawumia as a guest. That his umbilical cord is not tied to the NPP from the onset. So that is the more reason why there is that strong opposition against he becoming the leader in the impending elections. And I'm told that when he went to Asawase, one of the constituencies, he told them that he's not an alien. So it means that that particular message, right, is sinking down among some delegates who feel that no, maybe they will have to give Mr. Kennedy, a chance. So I mean, if you look at the topsy-turviness of whatever is happening within the party, it's an eyesore. It is just unfortunate that they have gotten to this particular level. We'll just hope that once they are done, they'll be able to come together. We need a strong opposition to keep our government in check.
Great. Dr. Ochre, if you can indulge me and stay on the line for me, let me have a quick conversation with Professor Smart Sapon, who is a political researcher. Prof, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, Crosby, good morning.
We're talking about the recent happenings in the camp of the NPP. A video from Kennedy Japan calling Dr. Bawumia a liar, a response from Dr. Bawumia asking for an apology and all of that. There's the peace pact signing tomorrow, and already some of the aspirants and their supporters are raising concerns about how impactful this peace pact signing will be. From where you sit as a researcher, how often do late-stage controversies like this, how often do they change outcomes in delegate-based primaries?
Good. Good morning to your good self once again, and to my brother Jonathan, good morning, and to our cherished listeners. Sometimes when you do an approach and you are not full, another approach adopted late can split your already gathered votes. And I'm saying because in an internal election, all main party members and delegates usually look forward to unity after the contest. And if there are any, like recently was made related comments, which would actually disturb the unity effort of the party, I am sure it has the propensity to or disperse some of your already gathered votes. I'm not saying it's going to be the case as we speak now, but I'm saying that in literature, in general sense, you have to guard all your gains up to the vote.
Professor Sapon, we're having trouble hearing you clearly. Your line is breaking. If you could adjust yourself a little.
Is it better now?
I think so, sir.
Okay. What I'm saying is that for the last day, it will be part of a political strategy to try and consolidate your gains, and not to that has a gains, especially in an internal contest. Would have wished or would wish that after the contest, unity effort becomes quite an easy one.
We're still having trouble getting a better connection with Professor Smart Sapon. We'll reconnect with him and then we'll continue the conversation. But Dr. Ochre is still on the line with me. Doc, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Crosby.
Great. So I want to ask you this, that in the final days, 10 more days to this all-important primaries of the NPP, are delegates more influenced by loyalty, by fear of losing power, or by the electability arguments?
By what argument?
Electability.
Electability. Oh, okay. Now, you see, part of my argument over the period has been that at this point in time, I feel with certainty that the NPP delegates are in a dilemma. Now, electability is one. The main problem is that, yes, Dr. Bawumia appears more refined, appears more experienced, negatively though, because his experience did not lead to the party winning, in 2024. They lost in a gargantuan fashion. So now the dilemma of the NPP delegate is that, okay, based upon the experience and then, all the characteristics that you can, attribute to Dr. Baumia. The point is that to elect Dr. Baumia should depend upon, one, two things that will have to happen in the NDC. Because they know the records of Dr. Baumia. Because he is the very person who ran the affairs of the country with Mr. Akufo-Addo. So he has to take on board all the records of President Akufo-Addo, bad and good and ugly. So that burden is there. Secondly, on the part of the NDC will have to perform abysmally by the end of 2028 in order to justify why the voters should nationally vote for Dr. Baumia.
Okay.
And two, the transition from Mr. Mahama to whoever, if it is not flawlessly done, but leads to this type of internal bickering that we are seeing in the NPP, then they will also have themselves to blame.
Right. I see.
So these are the two things.
Okay.
To elect Dr. Baumia, it's dependent upon these factors. To elect Mr. Kennedy is like you don't care about what the general populace of this country think. That's electability. So the man is popular within the party, but as to whether to be able to rake in the floating voters with his style of politicking is that which is still a dilemma for the delegates.
Okay. Doc, I'd like you to hold on for me. We've reconnected with Professor Smart Sapon. Prof, if you can hear me, thank you again for rejoining the conversation. You were making a point about how often such late-stage controversies, how often these controversies are likely to change the outcomes in delegate-based primaries. How likely is it?
Yeah, right. Now.
Prof,
Hope you can hear me now.
yes, I can hear you, sir.
Internal contest, and the delegates are mindful of the unity after a contest. And our advice to the aspirants is that some of the things at this time could either build up their gains or even deflate the gains that they would have made over the time. The comments go away on Kennedy's camp, and it has the propensity of getting the gains rather than sustaining the gains. They should be unity-minded 10 days or so to the election. As for how delegates see the various candidates, I think that primarily delegates see these candidates as true party members. It is only due to campaign, and of course, when you are campaigning and you seek to win over somebody, sometimes you use all discretion, try to go for all the weaknesses in the other person. Else, Baumia wouldn't be seen by the delegates as an alien at all. Where they had come from in their history, Dr. Baumia's past was part of the UP. That's from where they trace their source. So most of the recent people would be calling themselves true members because they have their father or mother or somebody in their lineage was part of the founding members and all those things. But if you put that even aside, I think it doesn't matter the time you join a fellowship. Once you finish your probationary or whatever period, you are deemed to be or to be a full member of that fellowship. And it will be quite keen for anybody who is a united-minded or unity-minded to refer to you as an alien, what would you think? Like, is it the Constitution to say that, for example, the Constitution says you have to be 2 years to be accepted, member, you have you are still not a full member of company. I mean, companies may want to use all means possible to gain some point. My advice to them would be that they should be unity minded, because irrespective of the outcome, I am sure they want to unite. In fact, even when you unite, you would have to stay out facing NPP in 2028. How much more if you are unable to unite?
Doc, thank you. Let me come back to you, Dr. Asante-Okyere. So, 10 days to the D-Day. If nothing changes in tone or structure or approach of the candidates, of the party, of the leadership of the party itself, what is the single biggest risk the NPP faces going into the primaries and coming out of the primaries?
Well, another group could easily emerge out of the party. A splinter group will come out of the party. That is the worst thing that could happen to the party at this point in time. Then the other possible thing that could happen during the elections is, if the process is not foolproof and transparent and fairly conducted, they risk some kind of commotion at certain, places within the country. And that in itself will also be unhealthy for the image and the forward-looking of the party.
I see. Prof, can you still hear me? Are you still on the line, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great.
Yeah,
my final question then, like I asked Dr. Okyere, is that in the final days of such an election that is very highly competitive, are delegates more influenced by loyalty, by fear of losing power, or by the argument of electability?
Well, all delegates, I'm sure, have debate and want to go in for a candidate who, in their view, would maximize their chances of making an impact in 2028. And all the factors would come together into who to make it to our impact point. That is what will dominate. At some point, I hope this time it is properly managed, but not it is likely to raise its head again. At a point like George rightly mentioned, there will be some misunderstanding that would degenerate into commotion at some places. Commotion are high when but
unfortunately, Prof, your line has not been very friendly to us this morning. It's sad. It has not been very friendly to us this morning. But let me take your final words, Dr. Asante-Okyere. Your final words to the NPP going into the elections 10 days more.
Hello, Crosby.
Yes, Doc. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Right. So what I'm asking is your final words about the upcoming primaries. We have 10 days to the D-Day.
Yeah. Well, I have to wish them well. They should tone down in the kinds of diction they put out, because it will definitely become a campaign message from their main opponent, the NDC. And whoever emerges will have to now struggle, to clear all the odds, and that will not be that easy and simple. So that apart, if they really have in mind that the common index is the NPP, and that whoever emerges will need the forces combined to ensure that they prosecute a campaign in 2020 that will be solid, then obviously they will have to tone down their excesses. But apart from everything, I wish them well, and I hope and pray they will come out unscathed.
Dr. Okyere, thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
call you TV. Now you be sad and say, why winning about me winning at the cost. Who bet me a support on a winning 2028? Or see no answer. Seven out here. Or see no answer. Unity, I mean, I'm shitty. Elections here, you go. Seulusua. Onyankopon na ye wadom. If you say ke bia wo wini ya de beto wo kwan mu no. The only lose no eyi we free bibi mo. The no kura no danase.